Checking my connection. Oh, buddy. Okay. Before I get started with our special guest coming on today, can we just talk about, for those of you who are in Texas, can we just talk about this heat real quick? This heat is ridiculous. Like, we're getting weather alerts because it's that hot right now. So last night about 8 o'clock? Like 8 o'clock or so, we get a weather alert that says, hey, tomorrow, be advised of the extreme weather, starting from like 10 o'clock to about 7 o'clock. It can get anywhere between 104, right? So like maybe 105, but it'll feel like 108. And I was like, my God, like what am I supposed to do with that? Like you want to be outside, but it's hot. Hey, down there in Florida. You know, I love Florida. Can we talk about that next? I just love the food, honestly. I love the food. The weather's nice. But you know, when that storm comes through, it takes a whole state out. Well, at least it feels like it's the whole state out. But I love Florida, so hello. But you know, this heat, my God. So I got up this morning because I said, let me really water the flowers so they can sort of survive through this heat. Hey, our special guest is here. She'll be joining us soon. So I said, let me get up this morning and get in there and water these flowers. And by 10 o'clock, it was 93 degrees outside. But it felt like, I'm thinking it felt like 98. That's just me. But it was hot. So I was like, holy snikes, it's only 10. So I had to go out. I had to go out because I need to get some milk. I mean, I've been putting it off, and I know I could get things delivered. I understand it, but I'm a little lazy sometimes. Man, 12 o'clock is 99 degrees, and it feels like, I would say that, but God bless it. It is hot. It is hot right now. It's very hot. We're going to make it work. Hey, how are you?
Hi. How are you?
You know, my sound is working. Hold on here. It's the second time that my sound, for some reason, is not working, but it's okay. I talk loud, so it works out just fine. So I was just talking about the heat right now.
I hear it's really hot.
Dude, oh my God. So I get in the car is reading 99. And even though you have your AC on blast, it doesn't really cool down that fast. Like you got to go someplace before you even, feel it. So I am sweating in my car like, dear God, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Get to the grocery store, I get my goods, and I'm noticing that there's a sign that says no ice. When I was like, it's too early to not have ice. It's too early. But this is where we are. So they're saying, hey, stay out. So another alert came out like about 1:14. It said, hey, please stay out, stay inside, right? Or take extra precautions if you're outside until about 7 o'clock. It's still thinking 7, where they are thinking it's gonna feel as if it's 108. And I thought, oh my God, it's not even July yet. It's not normally this hot in June. Like I don't recall it. Maybe I'm having a moment.
And here it's like in the 70s right now, and it's New York City. It's summer,
Yeah.
You should have stayed.
So, I know, right? Well, if a heat wave comes through on the East Coast, you feel that heat wave. Like we had a heat wave here the week I was there. So I felt pretty good leaving. I was like, I'm not worried about that. But times are changing because that heat is like, it's like here. It's stagnant. And you're like, oh my God, I can't. So yeah.
No,
but enough about the heat.
Can't take the heat. Get out of the city.
Man, yeah. But it's all over. So then I think real quick, what is July going to be like? And what about August? Like, I'm just like, holy crikey.
You should plan to go north for the summer.
I may have to go north. I mean, I know we have like those, what do they call them? The winter birds who come down. I don't know if they're going to keep coming down here. It's a little heated. It's a little heated. But enough about, hey, if I can just say real quick, I got my fam on the line. I was telling someone just the other day, they were asking about a photo session.
Yeah.
And she says, well, what does July look like? I was like, July looks good, except for perhaps that last week, because we got some special things going on. So I just want you to know I might get on the road real quick, because that's how I drive. But Sharona, hello, afternoon.
Hello.
So I said to myself, do I want her to sing us something? I might ask.
To sing? Oh, no. You can ask.
You can ask, but you can always say no. But before we get started, will you just introduce yourself to everybody and then also introduce your business?
Yeah, so I'm Sharona. I live in New York City. I've been here, well, I've come here my entire life, but I've officially lived here. It'll be 27 years in October. And I have loved New York City my whole life. And so I decided a long time ago that I'd eventually want to be a New York City tour guide. And so during the pandemic, I started my business called A Day Off with Sharona. And it is a private, curated, bespoke tour that I help you plan the whole thing. You know, I'll plan our day together, whether it's a half or a full day. But also, I'm your touch point in New York City while you're in the planning process from wherever you are. So full access to my brain and my fingertips. And then even while you're here, I would also be able to, I actually have a friend who's here right now. And she just texted me. She's like, what's the name of that cannoli place that you told me about? So right before I hopped on, I had to answer that for her.
Always working. You got to take care of your business. You got to take care of your business.
That's
so
right.
I appreciate that. Well, now, so you're not born, so you were not born in New York.
No, both my parents were born in Brooklyn, but I was born in the Washington, D.C. area.
Mm-hmm.
So we came
and so
up
27
here.
years ago.
Yeah, but we came up here every summer or every Christmas to see the grandparents and the family.
Yeah.
You know, my New York family is here. They're Italian. And so I don't know, there's a stereotype, you know, Italians have big families and have big get-togethers. So I have very fond memories, food-wise, you know, city-wise of New York. I've always loved it. I remember one of my favorite memories was, you know, we were kids and we would come visit our grandparents, and my parents would then go off on their own vacation and we get to be with our grandparents. So when the circus was in town, you know, the Barnum and Bailey Circus, they would be at Madison Square Garden. So our grandparents would take us on the elevated train. I think it was the J train, into the city, and it was above ground, and then it goes under the East River and into the city. And we would see the circus, which was really cool, you know, to see all the animals and everything. And then, of course, we made our grandparents buy us like all the toys that you get.
Yeah.
Good marketing at the circus. And we would get these little light up things. And back in the day, because, you know, I'm not as young as I look, the subway, when you were underground, the lights would go off and then they would come back on randomly. Like there was just a disconnect. So you'd be in the train, it'd be pitch black. So I remember like when the lights went out, all our light up toys, all the kids on the train who had been to the circus would, you know, press the lights. It was so fun. But not that we don't have that problem anymore, but you know, it's just fun adventures that can happen in New York City.
What I love about New York City, and a lot of people are not natural New Yorkers, you know, they're like honorary. I've done my time, so I have a little bit have a small badge.
Yeah, you were here a while.
But what I love though is when you find people who have a rich history and stories, and when it comes to being a tour guide, sharing that, did you know so-and-so and blah, 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 da, 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 and you're like, I had no idea. So tell me, what made you want to be a tour guide? First of all, let's just start there because you have traveled. You have done some traveling.
Yes. Well, and full disclosure, you and I know each other from our your previous job, my current job. We were both trainers and went on the road and opened new stores for the company. And but before that, growing up, obviously we came to New York every year, but we would travel as a family and go on vacations. And I love taking tours. I'm always the person at the front of the group, asking the questions of the tour guide. And I was like, oh my gosh, how cool would it be to be able to do that one day? And so on the road, I got to kind of practice that. I earned a moniker of Julie, your tour guide, when we were doing new store openings, and would arrange all sorts of adventures depending on the city we're in. And then when I traveled to Europe, they do things a little differently. They have like these headsets that you can walk around. You're plugged in and you're hearing the tour guide, even though they're maybe like half a block away from you. And I was like, ooh, that would be cool too, like an international tour guide. And I do have a theater background, so I'm not afraid to get up and stand in front of a crowd. So in 2019, I think, yeah. I started seriously considering, I'm like, wow, I've been working at my current job for so long. I feel like eventually I'm going to transition out of it. What's something else I can do? And I was working with a coach, like a life coach, and we came up with this idea, and I'd had the name A Day Off with Sharona for years. And she was like, oh my gosh, why don't you do it? I was like, yeah, why don't I do it? And I don't know, you've been out with me on the road and here in New York, and like a tour with me isn't like on your left is the Empire State Building, on your right is it's not that at all. It's being a tour guide also allows you to like connect with people that you wouldn't otherwise connect with. That's what life's all about, is connecting and getting to understand each other, and understanding our differences, and also finding out what the similarities are. And then the world becomes a little bit smaller because you feel like, oh, that person who lives in XYZ has something in common with me, and I never would have thought that. So I like that aspect of it too, like showing people the city I love, but also getting to know the people.
I have to go back to our history together because I have done my fair share of traveling for a company, and it really was like 2.5, 3 weeks, sometimes longer than that. You go there, you do the job, you come back, and then you came along. And it was like this full-on production of where to meet, where we're eating, where we're like what we're doing for the day. And it wasn't just a day off. It was like, it was an experience. And I thought, damn, we should do this all the time. So then if we knew that you were going to be on the trip, we were like, okay, she's going to play something really big for us. And it wasn't like, I don't know, like it just kind of came from a really good, genuine place. And when you're doing those long days, God bless us, those long days, that one day off you get every 7 days, you want to really enjoy it. You really want to enjoy it. And you did a great job. I keep thinking about our time in Massachusetts with the whale watching.
Yeah.
Dude, and the food, like the restaurant we went to, oh my God, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
We did a great job. We had a great time.
I know. And it's just like, anytime I travel, I want to, I always research ahead of time. So my first trip with our company was to Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm like, I've never been to Little Rock, Arkansas. And so I researched it, and the person I had the day off with, I was like, here's what I researched. Do you want to come along with me? And, that's kind of how it started, because yes, you have one day off every week. And though you'd like to rest and relax, it's like, when am I going to get back to Little Rock, Arkansas again? So you want to like hit the highlights. And then, my dad always says, do what you want to do the first time you go, but you can always go back. You don't have to do it all at once. So when we
Yeah.
do spend time in our, when we were on the road, I was like, what memory do I want to have from this experience? And so as a tour guide in New York City, I want to know, like, what do you want to do and what memory can I help you create when you're here that will make you want to come back again?
Mm. So let's talk about New York City, shall we?
Sure.
As big as it is, I've never been to Staten Island. I'm slacking there.
What? Have you never
It
even
was,
been you've never been on the ferry?
I've never been on the Staten Island ferry. No, I
Come
haven't had
on.
a need. I haven't had a need. Now, I had plans to go this past trip, but
Yeah.
plans,
Right.
and so we just didn't make it again. But yeah, it's the only borough I've not visited
Okay,
is
well,
Staten Island.
tell me the next time you're coming because we are going to Staten Island, and I already
We've
know
got
where
to
I
get
want
to
to take
Staten.
you. Yeah.
Appreciate that. So for people who are coming to New York, um, let's go with stereotypes first. Is it the way it looks like it does on TV? Is it really that congested? Are people really that brash? I should know this because I know this. But is it really what people think and see on TV?
If you go to the places that are shown on TV, yes, it is. If you're in Times Square, it looks like what you see on TV. Um, but New York City is so much more than just what you see on TV because go a few blocks west or east or south or north, and it's like any city that, in the country that has neighborhoods, and that neighborhood has its own flavor. And um, I I think there's so much that's underappreciated about New York City. People think of that stereotype, people are rude. No, the people who live here are not rude. I mean, we're like, get to the point. Like, you need to get somewhere, great. I'll tell you how to get there, but we're not going to go out and have ice cream because I got to get somewhere. Um, so, you know,
Was that your thought?
yeah.
Because
Sorry.
I was like, 'cause that's why I was like, trailing. I was like, okay, so we're not getting ice cream, but we're going to do what?
Yeah. No, but I think people are they're missing out if they just come and do the things that you see on TV.
Yeah,
There's so much
I
more.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I would say, because I've come and gone and come and gone, but my nephew visited once, and I took him on, at that time, it was the ultimate New York City tour. So we did all of the things that, you probably don't really think about doing if you live here. I made sure that we walked 3/4 of Central Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that kid tired. He was like, Auntie, really? He even talked about like, can you just take a cab? I said, look, kid, cabs cost some money. Okay,
That's right.
we got 2 weeks, and we have the subway
Metro
pass,
card.
so we're gonna take this Metro card and like put it to work.
Yes.
but we did that. At the time, Toys R Us was still open,
Oh,
and they had
interesting.
that like big Triton,
Ferris.
whatever it is, that the big TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we took some time to get a picture up there. And then we did a helicopter ride, which
How
I was like, this is
cool.
pretty nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you guys should go over like Statue of Liberty and then hit the Brooklyn Botanical Garden. So I made sure that he got all the things that he could get as a young, I think it was like maybe 13 years old.
Mm.
Yeah. So, but it was good for me too, because I was like, I don't think I've ever done a good chunk of this stuff either.
Yeah.
So tell me this, when people do come to you and say, I want an XYZ experience, what are some of the typical requests that you get?
Um, Honestly, the people I've worked with so far are like, I'm up for anything, which I'm like, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So, you just have to ask questions. So, are you somebody who likes food? Like, what kind of food do you like? Because every kind of food is represented in New York City. I mean, I don't think you want to spend time with me going to a museum because you can do that on your own. But like,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
want to see things that they don't know that they want to see, like the first tour that I did with somebody, they'd been here many, many times. And so we literally walked the whole time, except for when we sat and had lunch. But it was an amazing day. We passed Grand Central Terminal. We passed, we saw the Empire State Building. But something we did that probably not a lot of people do is we walked over to the UN, which is way, way east. If you way, it's like right against, if you go to Grand Central Terminal, make a right and don't go in the water, you'll be right there. However, the UN was in session, so we couldn't get close to the building. But we did see some protests, which, I mean, you don't see that every day when you come to New York. And then my favorite thing to do and to take people on is to take the Roosevelt Island tram and walk around.
Yes.
Have you been?
No, it's on my list, Bill.
Come on.
Because I've seen you. Sometimes I get caught up. I get caught up in eating and drinking, and then the day just goes. Okay. So, yes. I'm trying to get myself together, but I have seen on your Instagram you had, I guess it was either a reel or a video of you on the tram, and I thought, I've got to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same. You use your Metro card to ride it. And hi, Vita. Vita. You use your Metro card, and then you're on this little island in the middle of the East River, and you can see all the buildings that you walk past that are tall. So from Roosevelt Island, you can actually, you're right across from the UN building. And then flanking it to the south and north, you have the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, and now the new One Vanderbilt is there, and amazing views down the river. Up the river is not as exciting, but it's just, and it's a little oasis. There's a park there on the southern end. It's the FDR Four Freedoms Park. So it's one of those things. It's not crowded. People, I think, are afraid to get on a tram, but it is not scary at all. So you can also get to the island, the Roosevelt Island, from the subway, but the tram is something really unique.
Yeah, I would think to do the tram. I do know, like I said, when I was going through your Instagram posts some time ago when you posted, I was like, okay, let me write that down. Let me write this down. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Let me do that. So we do take some notes. I'm a little slow in making the move, because if I go somewhere and start eating and drinking, I'm a little slow in doing anything else the rest of the day.
Okay, well.
And I like to eat and drink.
I need some warning the next time you're coming, because I'm going to plan a day for us.
I would take it. Yeah, let's do that.
Yep.
Let's definitely do that.
Maybe we do a little photo shoot while we're touring New York.
We can do that too. We can bring Vita, who says she's scared to get on the trail. We'll bring her too.
Come on, Vita.
I want to step back. So you mentioned that you started this business during the pandemic. So you had the idea in 2019, and then you said, I'm going to pull the plug and do it. And that happened in 2020?
Sure did. So to be a New York City tour guide, you have to have a license. So I have been studying all of the materials. It must have been 10 years that I've been studying for this, if not longer. Of all the times to want to take the test, it was in 2020 when everything was shut down. But you do things when it's time to do things. So, you know how, like, when you want to do something, you keep making excuses, like, oh no, it's too hot outside, or I don't have the right shoes to wear to go there, and like you just keep finding things. I'm like, I have the money, but I don't want to call and talk to somebody right now. So finally, the stars aligned, and I got an appointment, and I had to wait a few months because pandemic, everything was shut down. And you have to go to the place in person. It's not an online exam. So I can't remember what the day was, but I remember it so clearly. It's a building that is downtown right by the Charging Bull statue, around Wall
Okay.
Street.
Okay, Wall Street.
Yeah, it's just like a innocuous building. It's not historic or anything. It looks like a government building. And you go in and your name's on a list, and then you bring the paperwork you were asked to bring, and they take your photo for your, if you pass, for your license. And then you go into this room with these computers that look like they're from the 1980s. And it's like computer and then an empty computer because of the pandemic. You couldn't sit next to anybody. Yeah. Then another computer, and different rooms had different tests. So like the woman who was in the room also taking a test was a builder. So she was getting a license so she could, do construction and stuff. Because New York City wants your money for everything. You need to pay a fee, like you're walking down this street, we need $5. Anyways, make a long story short, the test is 150 questions. And I can't remember what you have to get to pass. And they are about everything. Like, how do you get from point A to point B? Who built this statue? Who's the architect of this building? Like just anything you can imagine. So it was written by a New York City tour guide who I think really wanted to leave his mark on the world.
Yeah, because I'm like, wait a minute, the architect?
Damn. Yeah. When in doubt, the answer is McKim, Mead, and Wright. Just file that away if you ever have to. So I was given 3 hours to take this test, 150 questions. And mind you, we're in the pandemic. I'm like, I don't want to be in this room for very long. You have to wear your mask and hand sanitizer and blah, blah, blah. And there's a monitor she's just sitting in the corner behind behind like a glass pane or something. And I took the test in an hour, actually probably less than an hour. And she was like, "You're done already?" Like, yeah. She's like, "Wow. I was prepared to like have lunch with you later." I was like, "Okay, well, that's not happening." And they grade it right there, like find out what your score is. So because it's all on the computer, so they just kind of, I guess, pull it up and then they tell you. So I got 135 questions right out of 150.
Damn!
It earned me a star on my name next to, like, when they have a list of all the tour guides who passed, you get a little star by your name. So I'm a star.
You're like top notch. You're a top notch.
I have useless information in my head. That's right.
I didn't, here's the deal, real talk. I had no idea that it was that big a deal to have all these details down. I mean, I have met some people who just know some things about like neighborhoods and what have you, and they just kind of know the history because they have lived and been there like all their life, right? So I'm like, wow, look at all this cool information. But I didn't know to be a tour guide, one, you got to be licensed. I just thought people just, doing some stuff, kind of like handing out like star maps in Hollywood or something. Yeah. But damn, you got all the little things in there.
Yeah, and just a little refresher, knowing what I'm going into for my day off with my clients. I can, just kind of brush up on it. And then, with the advent of cell phones and all the access to information you have, it just makes it easier. You don't have to remember everything. You can look it up. Because though we have an outline of the day on a tour, it's not set in stone. So if somebody's like, yeah, I don't need to see that, I'm like, okay, what do you want to do instead? And then you can look it up and go. And being the person in the group, I'm the logistics. So if you're coming here, you don't have to worry about it. I'll figure all that out. You don't have to figure out how to get from point A to point B or how to switch things up while we're seeing the sights.
Seeing the sights. Sweet. I can't help but, so Vita's talking about New Jersey charging for polluted air and contaminated water.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I have to say, like, quick little fun fact, when I first got there, a friend said, don't drink the water. I was like, yeah, whatever. So I drank the water and I ended up in the hospital. So go figure.
In New Jersey?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I kid you not. My mother, I was a freshman at NYU, and they called my mother and said, "Hey, your baby girl's in the hospital because I had lost a lot of weight because of this like virus." Yeah. Oh well, so I'm all about bottled water when I'm in the city. Just don't trust it. But so you take your test and then you launch. And how did you do your launch? Like, was it just, I'm here, this is Sharona? Or what did you do?
I actually launched from Roosevelt Island. I was in the Four Freedoms Park.
Oh.
I did an IG live and just announced the business, put it on Instagram. Behind the scenes, working with my coach, I created my website and I partnered with a graphic designer who I know from Instagram as well. And so it was just amazing to be able to share it with the world, or the people in the world who were watching me. And then it's like, we're still in a pandemic. I can't really give a tour. So instead of giving in-person tours, I did my first tour on Roosevelt Island. It was a Zoom call. And I did an hour's tour of Roosevelt Island, and that one was free. And then at Christmas, New York City at Christmas time is magical. I'm sure there are other places in the world, but like New York is just so beautiful. And so I was like, the Fifth Avenue, the lights and stuff all down there, and all the shops that are lit up, and of course the tree, the Rockefeller Center tree. I was like, I bet this would be something people would want to see during the pandemic, because they can't get here, or So I did another Zoom. That one I charged $5 for you to join me on the Zoom call, and we did a walking tour from the Plaza Hotel down to the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center, and just, I showed everybody. And as I was walking and talking and almost getting hit by a cab, or, those kind of things, it was an adventure. So those were my first tours that I ever did during the pandemic. People say, oh, it's just too hard, I can't do it. But you have to, it's not that you can't do it, you're not ready to do it, or you don't want to do it right now. So when the spirit moves you, you're going to feel that support and just take that step to do it. I mean, when I moved to New York, I was bound and determined to do it. I was like, I don't care how hard it's going to be. And I did it. And that was 27 years ago. And then I launched this business in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic. I'm like, whatever, I can't give a tour. So I can still get my business started, and just, trying to be resilient and creative and getting people to get excited to travel again. I mean, we've all been through some trauma the last 2 years collectively. Yeah. So travel allows you to escape, whether you can do it in person or, I don't know about you, but during the pandemic, I was like, I would love to go somewhere knowing I can't. I wonder if you can, I wonder if I could I think somebody told me there's a website you could go to that you could tour the pyramids in Egypt, or I did a tour, a virtual, online tour of the Taj Mahal. I
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know that there were a number of virtual exhibitions. Yes. And then I did see some virtual tours on there for different things, because it was like, well, people can't come here, but you can still do stuff. And I got stuff for myself. I did a little fun decorating in the house and in the backyard. I was like, we're having Jamaica Day today. I've got jerk chicken, rum punch, rice and beans. It was a damn good dinner too. Can I just tell you?
Yeah.
And I had like decorations. So you have to get creative,
Yeah.
even though the times are always adjusting and changing. You do have to get creative. So I want to talk about 2 points, and we'll definitely answer Vita's question before we end this. We got some time to go, but two things. One, you have mentioned your coach, your life coach, and then you also mentioned being resilient. So let me go to the life coach first, because a lot of folks think as small business owners, entrepreneurs, you have to do it by yourself. I don't know who told them that idea, because I never had that idea. But there is also a place where people kind of think if you're an entrepreneur, you don't need any other coaching or direction. So this coach, was that tied to this, or this was like, no, I need a coach for myself? And from that, as you mentioned, she said, hey, this is a great idea. Go ahead and do it.
So when I was, I interviewed a couple of people to be a coach for me, and I was honestly, working retail for my entire life. I was like, man, there's got nothing else I can do. And I was like, but I don't know what that is. And so when I had the interview with her, she's the one who asked the question that got me to start talking about, I'd love to be a tour guide. And kind of the business was born in collaboration with her. She just kind of brought that out of me. And that's what coaches do. They're not there to do the work for you, but to help you get in the mindset and be a collaborator and partner on that. So she was just the perfect person for me. And I met her at work. She was one of my clients.
Well, we're always talking to people. What do you do? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When you're spending like 10, 15 minutes with someone in the role that I'm in, like you kind of have to make small talk sometimes. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sweet. Because I know like people, there is a limit. So I will speak from my own past history. When you're managing people, there is a place where you want folks to grow, but you also have to know that there's a limit. Like you need either a career coach, you may need a life coach, you may need a therapist. None of those things are living right here. Like it's just not part of the job description, nor am I skilled to handle such things.
Right.
Right? So I think it's great that you have found a coach and then finding these other things from having your coach. Now let's talk about being resilient. Let's go ahead and get into it because, in my personal opinion, do I think that we are headed to a recession? I don't really know. I sometimes think that as a society, we talk things into fruition, if that makes sense. Yes. The housing market is out of whack. This gas is out of whack. There's a lot of things out of whack right now. So I get it. And, economies do have to reset themselves. But good times or bad times, as a small business, we are always going through something. Always. Yeah. So you being in New York City, and pardon me, man, when COVID hit hard. Hit really, really hard. Was there ever a time that you felt this isn't the right time to pull the trigger on this business?
Yes. But because I had the guidance of my coach, like she just helped me get in the different mindset. So I think, not everyone has a coach, but everyone has a person who's their touchstone. You have to be able, I am somebody who I am a very independent person. I do have people in my life who I'm very close to, but sometimes you need a impartial third party or somebody who you're close with, who you feel like, you can trust entirely. So I think part of resilience is who you surround yourself with and who, you want to have the people with the energy that's going to bring you up. And I went through a lot of the pandemic by myself because I live in my own apartment. My partner lives in his own apartment. And we couldn't see each other. So, Zoom was great. That's everyone learned how to use Zoom back then. And now look at us doing Instagram Live. But like you can't do it alone. And if you can, I mean, good on you, but wouldn't you want it to be easier? Like having somebody to talk to and help pull you out of the pit of despair, because we all went to that pit many times over the last 2 years. So now we're like, you're in a heat wave over there, and
that's a pit of despair too. It's a different kind of pit. It's a different kind of pit. It's like, God damn it, it's hot. And I mean, it's hot. And for those of us who got any kind of girls going on, man, it gets hot and it gets hard to kind of keep it together.
That's right.
I'm like, where's that shower to shower? Because it's hot.
I need another shirt to put on. And then,
oh my God.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will say, to speak on to that, as a small business owner, you are correct. You need to have your community, right? And you need to have your tribe. And the idea of doing it by yourself, it's like stressful. And being resilient isn't about, being happy-go-lucky all the time. There are still some moments when, that itty bitty voice is like, Gwendolyn, really? Seriously? And then this other voice says, hell yeah, seriously, right? Because there's good days and bad days. And a lot of people will tend to show the great days, right? It's all glitz and glamour, and we're like, la 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 la. And I'm thinking, I know good and goddamn well it's not always glitz and glamour, because I've seen those days. I've seen them. We work through them, but we have definitely seen them. But it helps to have your tribe around you.
Yeah.
Where you can say, it's not working today. I'm in a business course right now, and we were given partners. And so our task was to check in on each other every single day straight for 3 weeks. Now it's over, but now we're in the habit of, hey, good morning. How are you doing? What do you need today? We use co-working spaces. And so yesterday I said, hey, I need some positive vibes. I got 2 client calls. Send those vibes my way. Whatever you got, like sprinkle it on me, right? Because I need it. But it's good to have those people. If you don't have a coach, even if you have a coach, you still want folks who are going through that journey at the exact same time. Yeah. So you guys can share and say, if you want to vent, I am here for it. And we do all the things on our co-working calls. All the things.
Yeah, it's like a safe space that you can go to, and just to know that there's someone you can touch base with. It doesn't have to be a 20-minute conversation, but just like, hey, this is what I need, and they're like, I got you. Like my coach, she's available to me 24 hours a day. She might be sleeping for some of it, but we use an app called Voxer, which you can leave voice memos and also write messages and share files, etc. So I can Voxer her whenever I want, and she'll get back to me, as soon as she can. And it's so nice to have that partnership and not feel alone.
Nice. It's good. If I've learned anything from this sort of a slap in the face from COVID, it is to, make time for yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically, and then to really surround yourself with your tribe. I would look at that. And Navita, thank you. Yes, Ron is a great one. And oh my God, I haven't seen him in forever. Jeez. And you didn't have to you can check in with. I know, right? So let me take this time and shift to your business, your services directly, because we do have some questions here. So tell us about the business, like how they find you. And then we can also talk about, like Navita was asking, does your tour include disability scooter users? So go over your services and then we'll get to the details.
Yeah, so you can find me on adayoffwithsharona.com, and that's my website. I'm also on social media. A Day Off with Sharona is my handle on Facebook and Instagram. I am not a Twitterer yet. And
You
then
ain't missing that.
no, and then whatever else the kids are doing these days, I'm not on that either. But so my services are, if you're planning to come see, take part in all that is New York City, and you want to have a day where you have somebody who just takes the reins and allows you to create memories, I'm your gal. You can fill out a form on my website to set up a call to talk with me, and just, we have a conversation, and I'll, go over what I can do. I want to know, like, when are you coming? Because that's kind of important, and see if I'm available, first of all. And then I am available to you until your trip happens, if you decide that you'd want to work with me. And I will, if you have a question, you're like, I don't know what hotel I should stay at. What neighborhood should I stay at?
Yeah.
Do I need a reservation for this restaurant? How do you get tickets to a Broadway show? Like, if you don't have the inclination to do the research, or you just, have specific questions, that's part of my services for you, for the fee that you'll be paying. And then when you get here, I'm also available throughout. And we started our Instagram live. I was telling you that a friend is in town, and she was like, "Where do I get those fabulous cannolis you talked about?" So stuff like that. I'm here for you for the duration of your trip. And then, of course, our day together, which gets planned in collaboration with you, because we're going to do things that you want to do, not what I want to do, because I could just want to stay home and watch TV, and I don't think you want to do that with me. So I don't know. I think it's everyone I've taken out with me has loved it and seen things that they never. I went to a taping of a TV show with somebody when they were here, because that's what they wanted to do. I'm like, okay, I'll sit with you at a TV show. It was cool though. It's very unique, because not every city has a place that has a studio that you can sit in an audience. So,
I have to say, during my time at FIT, there's anything that we did on our days off, it was filling the spot for Montel Williams. And
nice.
then around the corner, I know I'm dating myself. Okay. But around the corner was Ricky Lake and Queen Latifah.
Yes.
So literally on the next streets, we just walked around and got in line. They were like, okay. And they had great talk shows. They had great talk shows. So I miss Ricky and I miss Queen on TV. But yes, once you do it, you're like, hey, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but if you're not in the place where they are filming, like in New York or out in LA or something, then it can definitely be something on your list of, I want to go to a TV show taping.
Yeah. Like, and so I helped her get the tickets and, figure out what time we had to be there. Where do we get breakfast ahead of time? And so anyways, yeah, I will do any activity with you. If you want to go shopping in Soho, or go, eat your way through the Lower East Side or whatever, go visit Vita in New Jersey. I mean,
we could cross the river.
Yeah. I will say one of the best ways to see the city is by the rivers, because there's lots of ferries that go up and down. You'll see everything. And if you they have not the Circle Line, which is the boat that like takes you around the whole island, but we have ferries, just commuter ferries. Again, the same cost as a MetroCard swipe. You have to get a separate ticket, but you could just bop your way down the East River and around the bend to Brooklyn. And, Governor's Island now has a ferry every day, and Staten Island ferry. So you could just island hop while you're here.
You can put that on there. Like, we've done the cruise, like the husband, he wanted to do a cruise, so we did the cruise.
Yeah.
And then we did it kind of towards the evening. It gets cold on the water. I was like, babe, do you ever get it gets cold on the water? Because it's kind of chilly out here.
And conversely, it gets really hot in the summer. So you don't want to sit outside on a boat.
No.
We did that. I did that with my dad and his wife one time. They were like, let's go on the Circle Line. I'm like, okay. and it was like what you're experiencing today, like one of the hottest days of the year.
Hmm.
And so we sat inside, which is fine, but like you don't really get to see everything
Yeah.
because you're in a crowded. I mean, we were sitting, but it was like, what's that over there?
Yeah. Yeah. You really want to be on the boat, outside
Yeah,
on the boat when you're doing it so you can get the whole thing. It was a beautiful sunset cruise, but yeah, when that sun goes down, you're like, and it's chilly outside.
yeah.
This is like kind of like I'm getting goosebumps chilly outside. This is not good.
Yeah.
But
So,
definitely something worth doing.
so to address Vita's question about
Yes.
disability, if you or anyone in your party has special accommodations that are needed, we would talk about that ahead of time. So yes, it would be a little scooter friendly to take you around. It's
Well,
tailored. It's all
well,
bespoke.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we do what you want to do, and I just figure it out logistically.
I
And you
think that's
get
pretty
me.
awesome. It's pretty awesome.
You get me for 8 hours.
Which I have to say, I mean, when I think about what you have done in the past for our big groups, without like in the beginning, without someone saying, "Are you going to plan anything?" And then it became a thing of Sharona's coming; she's going to plan something. Um, I have seen your work, and I know that you really do craft together an amazing experience, like hands down. There's just
Yeah,
nothing like
thank
it.
you.
It really isn't. And in times like this, where you can do your own thing, a lot of it really is I want to have a great experience when I go to XYZ place. Right? Like if I take a cruise down the Mediterranean, I'm looking for experiences, right? So I'm not gonna stay on the boat. I'm gonna get out and do some, what do they call it, the little excursions.
Yep.
So same thing here. There are a lot of folks who have never gone to New York City and other cities, but we know that New York is one of those glitzy ones that can look a little overwhelming when you're trying to navigate the waters and navigate the subway system and not
Yeah.
get ran over because you're walking too slow.
Pull over.
Like, you need to get over. Or blocking the escalator like my husband when he was, I said, babe, you need to get over here because you're standing.
Do
So
not stand on the
switch
left.
over.
Do not stand on the
He was like, oh, I didn't know. I was like, I'm letting you know that's not how that goes down. I need you to get with it.
left. Exactly. There's nothing more
Don't
frustrating.
embarrass me out here. Don't
Yeah.
embarrass me.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it is great. It is great.
thank you for saying that. It's something that logistics come very naturally to me. If you talk to my boyfriend, he calls me logistics just because, like, whenever we're going to go on a trip or something, he's just like, "You got this?" Like, I got it. I got it. You just show up, buy your ticket. So I'll say my best advice if you are coming to New York and you want to have a day off, do the things that are on, if you want to see the Empire State Building or do all those things that require an entrance fee, like do those on your own. I'll be the one who takes you to those places that you never thought that you'd want to go, and have experiences that are going to be unique to you. It's going to be tailored to you and your party. No, I do like parties of 4.
Okay.
My boyfriend's on. I love you, honey.
That's so
That's
cute.
him. Anyways, so
You gotta love the love.
I do. We've been together 11 years. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. That is so sweet. So, okay. Well, hey, man, I'm telling you, we get to talk and everything. I'm like, smack it. What time is it? So
Yeah.
before we leave, one more time,
Yes.
give us your Instagram, your website,
Okay.
and how they can contact you, follow you, that kind of stuff.
Yes. So my website is dayoffwithsharona.com. And then my Instagram and Facebook handle is A Day Off with Sharona. So you'll find me that way. You can contact me through my website. There's a link to email me, or you can just go right for scheduling a call with me so we can plan your day off with Sharona. And you could do a half day, you could do a full day. we'll figure it out. But I am so excited to be a little bit past the pandemic, and tourism is back in
Yeah.
New York City. I was in Times Square the other night with my friend, and it was just like, what pandemic? I don't know.
It is busy. It is. People have been wanting to get back out, and they are looking to really, really take advantage of this time. At least that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
Tourism is up. I can tell you that because I was like, "Well, look at all these people. Okay, hello, how are you?" I mean,
Yeah.
it was busy.
It's nice,
Which is a good thing.
it was so surreal because during the beginning of the shutdown, we could still go out. So I took the train into the city to 57th Street and Broadway, and I walked down the middle of Broadway in the street, not on the sidewalk. There were no cars. There were a handful of people, but I walked down Broadway to past Macy's, to the Flatiron Building, to Union Square. It was like a desert wasteland. It was like one of those dystopian sci-fi movies. And then and that was nice but weird because it was like, oh, I can see everything.
Yeah.
And now I kind of long for a little bit of that back. I want to share my city, but I also want a little bit more space when I go to those touristy places.
We didn't do a lot of driving, right? So I got this grade because I started driving. Just go ahead and say it. I got this grade because I had a nice head of black hair when I left New York, and then I got here, all this gray showed up from all the stress of driving. But during the height, it was no one's on the road. No one's on the road. No one's on the road.
Yeah.
And then people come back and they don't know how to drive. It's like, it hasn't been that long, I know. A year, come on, people, it hasn't been that long. So yeah. I know the whole deal of missing some of the space and being able to just sort of enjoy a place and a moment.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, I don't think I'd want to live anywhere else. I love that I live in Astoria, Queens, which is across the East River on the other side of Roosevelt Island. And I get the best of both worlds. I go into the city, and then the city in New York, it's Manhattan. So I go into the city to work, and then I get to come out back home where it is, neighborhoody and quiet. And believe it or not, yes, there are quiet parts of New York City.
There are quiet parts.
So it's nice to have that balance. So when I do want to be away from people but still be outside, I stay local.
I thought about that. I asked my husband if could he have ever lived in New York, and he was like, no. He was like, this is too much for me. It's too much. It's not overwhelming too much. It's just too much. Me, I have the one part that's like, golly, I miss this. I miss all of this. Smell it. And then I'm like, man, where's my car? Shit.
Yeah, what? I got to walk uphill. My boyfriend says that my neighborhood is the best food neighborhood.
Now, I will tell you this, that I actually have to say hands down. We were walking, we had to find a grocery store to get some quick snacks because we were there for a week. And I thought, man, I do miss getting the fresh fruit and doing those kinds of things, having a quick place to grab a bite. I do miss that because, we're in the suburbs and you have to drive. And we're in Texas, so you're going to have to drive. You're going to have to get in your car and drive somewhere.
No walking.
It may be up the street. They're like, what's up the street? About an hour. What? That's not always an hour. It's not always an hour.
I can pop down the street to the local bodega and just get whatever I need at whatever hour.
Yeah. I'm just like, so I do miss that. I miss the neighborhood coffee shops and the diners, that kind of stuff. So I put myself all back in that when I was there. So I was like, oh, look at all of this. Oh, it's just so great to just be outside. And and now I'm here. I'm like, I'm not going outside. I can't go outside. It's too hot. I don't even get the mail. I was like, just have to sit there. It's about 8 o'clock at night when the sun goes down.
If they
It's like,
want
let
to
me go
find
see
me,
what's in the bill.
they'll call me if they
Yeah,
want to find me.
they'll call me. I'm in the house. I'm in the house right now. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh man, I wonder. I know I love New York, but I'm also, I'm a native Texan. I like
Yeah.
the ground and my big barbecues and my smoking pits, so I have to get back to that. But New York has a special place in my heart, right?
Yep.
Hello, Winter. Hello to you. Good seeing you too. It's just, it has a special place in my heart. My whole New York City family. Gotta love them.
Yes, you'll always be our family.
I know. And every now and then it's like, they're not walking fast enough. You're going to have to move. So my husband's like, who is this woman that I just married? It's like, oh, it's that alter ego that comes out when you're
Yeah.
in the area. When you're in the area.
One
For
of my-
goodness. I am so excited. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of my favorite things, like when you and I were on the road together and our coworker was like, don't get in the car with Gwendolyn and Sharona because it's completely different than having somebody else behind the wheel. Because we were New Yorkers at that, and part of that, and we were just like, get out of our way.
It was. I think we had I remember some commentary in my car when I was driving. They were like, okay, say, man, get in where you fit in. So, hey. I mean, what can I tell you? I have come down, though. I've come way, way, way down. I'm far more patient with people. Far more patient. There are still a little bit of, did you just do that? Like, you serious? There's a little bit of that, but I am far more patient. I gotta slow this gray down. I gotta slow it down.
Right. Mine are there too. You just can't see them because thanks to
I keep it cut short. Goodness. But if I can tell you this, I am excited for you and your future endeavors. What you are offering is an amazing service for anyone who is visiting New York City and just giving them like that nice, I shouldn't say nice, I would say awesome experience, honestly.
Thank you.
That you cannot. If you're going to go to the city, you really want to enjoy it. Nothing against, like you said, your museums, your Empire State Building, and all, your Times Square. But there are so many little nooks and crannies and jewels that are just put away someplace. If someone doesn't tell you about it, you'll just never know. Yep. Right? So I'm so excited to see what you do in the future.
Thank you.
We're rooting for you. Rooting for you.
You're an early supporter because you took some of the pictures that I have on my website. So
yes,
in my very backyard.
And man, we make it work. We make it work. But we are due to go back. Like I said, this last trip was more of I literally relaxed, brought only one film camera at that. And I was like, we are just going to relax and eat, drink a little, and just enjoy ourselves, which is what we did. Well, that night I had to go by the wine shop. Okay, I was there for the wine. Those are how my trips are planned. Where am I eating? What am I drinking? And what am I buying to bring back?
And get your little vacuum seal bag, the little absorbing bag.
Man, the jet bag, best thing ever, people. The jet bag, best thing ever.
I have one.
Just trying to tell you. I travel with them because I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring back some wine.
That's right.
Put it out there.
Don't play.
So yeah, but the next time we're in, so let me see. There is, like I said, we do have a family event in July, so I might be on the road for that. I say might because they're in Atlanta, but I am good for a road trip.
Hey, I'm going to be in Atlanta in July too, just saying.
Oh, yeah?
We'll talk offline.
Oh. We won't have to talk online. All right. Sharona, thank you so much for giving me your hour. Everybody who has joined in, hello to my New York City family. I'm looking at this Texas barbecue comment from Winter. We are about the eats and the barbecue in Texas. I'm just going to put it out there, right?
Yes.
If I have to say so, I think we have the best barbecue compared to other states, but whatever. I am biased.
Throw it down.
I admit that. But thank you for giving me this hour, and thank you for sharing your business with us and your tips on being resilient and to just get out there and do it.
Yes.
Get out there and do it.
Thank you. It has been so much fun. It's just, we've been friends for so long, and it's so nice to have a fellow female entrepreneur to talk to. I will reach out to you as I have questions along the way, because you've been at this a little bit longer than me.
Yes, and still learning,
Yeah.
and sharing. So it's like, bring it on in, bring it on in.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Enjoy your day. Stay cool out there. Get your water. Stay cool.
Hydrate.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye.